Hi everyone, and welcome to the YakShaver Sprint 65 Review Retro Sprint 66 Planning. Let's jump into our email. So first off, the Review Retro email. Our sprint goals this sprint were to roll out YakShaver to first customer on the wait list and add static branding to all videos. We ran into a couple of roadblocks with both of those. We'll get into more details as we go through. First off, quick review of who worked this sprint. We had Tom, Lewis, Rick, Stephen full-time, Caleb part-time. Diving into the issues, we've got a few bolded ones here. So the first one, Lewis, did you want to talk to the test YakShaver rollout V3?
Yeah, so once our V2 testing got a bunch of PBIs and we fixed up those bugs and we did roll out V3 with Louis and Louis. So thank you for that, for the help. And we got a few more bugs to iron out. So just a brief summary of what needs to be done. Documentation updating, that's been done already. The Stripe payment didn't have a promo code spot for some reasons, but that has been fixed. There's just one more issue, which is the user sync didn't go through, and we are still currently investigating that one.
Right. So hopefully next sprint, we will be able to roll out finally. Next one, Tom. Did you want to quickly speak to the client portal, allow custom user to be added to the user list? I think we've got an issue for that in here, don't we?
Sorry? Yes. I have pictures, but we can also demonstrate it on the live portal page. You want me to demonstrate it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Quickly.
Very quickly. So this is the portal page with the user list. Before we were not able to add any users. Now we can add custom users. We type in our name.
Sorry, can you zoom this up?
Yeah. So we can add the full name, the nickname, email, and the GitHub link. And I've done that before, and I created a second account for myself. So this is the custom one, and this is the synced one. That is a feature that we will need when we look into the GitHub authentication to allow admins adding custom users, as well as be able to add email groups in SSW case for the sysadmins and the Zendesk portal.
Okay, awesome.
That's pretty much it.
I will seize control of the screen off you. Next one. So Rick, you had a couple here. Firstly, YakShaver raises issues in wrong repository and implement confirmation card for fallback email. Do you want to speak about those?
Sure. So YakShaver used to incorrectly treat some phrases as a project name, and which caused it to choose the wrong project later on. So what we've done here is we have improved the prompt so that now it should correctly select the right project from now on. And in regards to the fallback email, we used to send out fallback email automatically. And now we have a new interface confirming with the user, do you want to send out the fallback email? And then they get to choose send or cancel. So let's scroll down a little bit. If you click cancel, and we will update the interface, say fallback email canceled. If they decide to proceed, we will then actually send out the email.
Right. Awesome.
So that,
yes.
Okay, that looks awesome. Who checked the language on that, and specifically the word fallback?
The word fallback was initially used throughout very early in the development phase, and
Yes,
I think Yuli had that.
I think that's a no
checked
one checked it.
Yeah.
Okay, Rick, make sure that somebody checks it.
Okay.
Yes, call somebody up like Yuli or Callum or Seth and say, all right, what do you think of that message? And don't anchor them, but get it checked.
Right. Sure, I'll get that checked.
Okay, thanks. It's a weird word, fallback. That's all.
Yeah, I think it makes sense in the back end, but maybe not user in front of the user. But that's fine. Should be easy to fix up. Next one, Caleb, would you like to speak to the pagination and item count reset on refresh? Bit of a tongue twister.
Sure, no worries. So if you don't mind, I'm going to grab control of the screen. So we had
Absolutely.
this bug where when you would refresh, you would lose the pagination state if you were looking at a table. So if you're on page 2, it'd go back to page 1. And I fixed that just by having the query parameters update when you go to a different page on the table. So I just went to page 3 and it just updated this page index 3 parameter here. So now when I refresh, I'll still be on page 3. Questions?
No, that looks fine to me. Let's carry on. If there's no other questions, I will take back the screen. Yes, so that is that from Caleb, and you did a couple of other things on the portal there. Stephen, we had migrate leaderboard to portal with pagination. This is very exciting because we've wanted to see the leaderboard inside the portal for a while. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, I'll just quickly share my screen.
Yep.
So here, I've logged into the YakShaver portal, and under the dashboard, we have this new car leaderboard. This one is a new implementation. We had a original leaderboard that was implemented on Teams, but the limitation is you can only see certain number of people on that card. And now you have a new design on the portal. You can see everyone here. And also there's paginations. You can choose from how many people you want to see on this page. And you can see a lot of people. And also even there's a search bar. You can type someone's name and see how many shades they did. And this leaderboard is based on the actual PBI or email they created using YakShaver. So it provides a better, accurate data than the Teams. So yeah, that's about it.
All right, that looks awesome. I have a few questions. When did it get finished?
This morning.
Okay, all right. Well, that negates my next question, which was going to be, when did you record a done video and get it checked by someone? Which I assume will be after this, correct?
Yeah, I can do a quick done video.
That'd be great. Now, before that, has anyone checked the UI of this? Has anyone given you a test pass since doing it?
Yeah, actually, I had this a little bit chat with Tom. He provided lots of feedbacks on my original UI. So this is a already improved one.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Some other things I might ask, can I see every single to the very end?
Yes.
Yes.
Click the double arrow to go to the last page.
Yeah, this double arrow goes to the last page.
All right.
And you can see all the people here. But currently we have some like account names.
Okay, don't worry about that. We'll get that cleaned up. But yes, ask Kiki about that, and I will be asking the people with 0, which is excellent. Now, one other thing is, I think the page and the spacing between each one could be less, so that you can get them closer together. But then
can I stop you there, Adam? Could we YakShave this suggestion?
Even better. All right, I will. Yes, go for it. I'll comment.
Lewis, could you record? I assume you said yes, but you're muted.
It's starting recording now.
Awesome. Take it away, Adam.
Okay. I would love a item on the YakShaver backlog to improve the YakShaver leaderboard. I think that there is a good argument to have this as its own node on the left-hand side. So after dashboard, you could add another one called leaderboard, and it's just got this. Now on the dashboard, you might have a link that takes you to the leaderboard, which would be, a good way of getting there. I also would suggest having the spacing between each name a bit less, so you can get more on there, and also to have alternate colors on each row. So you have black, and then the next one is just slightly different, like a dark gray, and then black, and then a dark gray. So you can quickly read, because there's going to be more columns going across. So it'll be a bit wider. It's going to show whether it's a bug or a feature, and some other things like that. And also, probably could end up in a different YakShave, but think about the fact that you want to see which projects are getting the most YakShaves. And I think you see that on the projects menu already. So you might just want to have links back and forth between those two pages because they're essentially both leaderboards.
Might be interesting to see which project each person shaves most to or something like that as well.
Yes, I was just about to do that. So that'd be great.
Okay, cool. One other thing I was going to say is currently it looks like we're using everyone's nickname. So I see Yuli and Wixie on there. I feel like that should have their full name and then maybe the nickname in brackets. Because if I search for Matt, I'm not going to find Wixie, am I? So that should probably be showing the full name too.
Awesome.
Cool.
Done.
Terminate the recording and let us carry on.
Yes, and at the end of this recording, if you could just pull that up just to show it was fully YakShaved.
I can do that.
All right, carry on. So code coverage is double what it was last week, but that is just a mathematical trick because we've halved the lines of code that are counted in the code coverage. So don't pay too much attention to that. Build pipeline, we've had 4 successful production deployments this week. Very good. Application health, we had a big spike of failed requests. Looks kind of like a middle finger raised there, but fear not, it is not a serious error. It's mostly 404 and 401 errors, not 500 errors. So it's basically, you know, some sort of scraping bot or something like that. Nothing to worry about. Availability 100% throughout the week. Adam, did you want to add a comment?
I do want to add a comment because we've moved on to this health overview, which is pretty good, other than the little spike in the pink. But we finished the backlog and we finished going through everything and it had done for everything. But you said 2 things weren't done. And so it didn't correlate. Like if you look up there.
That's a very good point, Adam. This email is missing all the stuff that was not done.
Okay. All right. So
I guess I can find that by going to here and then going to projects and then navigating to the product backlog. And from there, I should be able to, well, I guess I can't because we've already moved everything, haven't we?
Yeah, we've already done the planning.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, just note that for next time.
Yep, good point. Yes, carry on. Monthly usage. So our top 3 users were Wixie, Aman, and Isaac. Obviously, Lewis and Yuli should be counted because he's not part of the team anymore, right? Anyway. Product roadmap. So we have moved backwards on our top 2 epics. And the reason why is not because we've undone stuff, but because we've added additional items to the epic. So that is stuff, for example, that came out of the V3 rollout test. We had additional bugs that had to be done and stuff like that. We had additional stuff completed down here. That was again from just closing off old and duplicate items. Some backlog stats, new PBIs, blah, blah, blah. You can pause and review that if you're interested. Experimental work. Stephen did some FFmpeg investigation with watermarks and ran into some roadblocks with the performance there, which is one of the things we would have mentioned if we had that item in the table at the top. And Tom investigated some OAuth issues on first login. So that was one of the bits of feedback we had from the rollout test was we had this error where first time you log in, we get an issue. No one new on the wait list this week. A couple of updates to the AI tools. Tom has moved up to Claude 4 Sonnet. And I think someone else did as well. I forgot who. What went well this week? So just to a couple of highlighted ones here. Callum's excited by the free public YakShaver offering and hoping to make some headway on that in the coming sprint. So that would be using YakShaver with a public YouTube and public GitHub account to, send out YakShaves all over the place, which is going to be exciting. What didn't go well?
One other good thing is Lewis got a nice haircut. He's looking sharp. Although if he didn't get the haircut, he might have finished the sprint.
Yes. It was probably worth it. I think Lewis's fresh
Replace
cut
a yak
brings.
shave with a hair shave.
That's right.
That's
You're
right.
practicing yak shaving on yourself.
What's he worth?
Yes, very good. Some what didn't go well from Tom. There was a bit of confusion about prioritizing Adam's requests. So Adam's creating items in the backlog. It's often unclear, what is to be done urgently and what isn't. Sometimes it has a double emoji, so on and so forth. I think that sort of squarely falls on my shoulders as product owner to help communicate between Adam and the team. So that shouldn't be anything for Tom to worry about. We'll try and do a better job of that next time. And what needs to improve? Caleb mentioned a few weeks ago, Callum suggested all of the React developers have their own team. And then YakShaver AI is just another one of the React sites because he's currently sort of running out of work to do on the YakShaver website. My suggestion was that if Caleb runs out of work to do on the YakShaver website, he should help out with the YakShaver team proper and do other YakShaver tasks. I don't know, Adam, if you had a preference on that question, or if that's something we should park and come back to after the recording. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think that we should be practicing Scrum and helping out wherever you can. And as soon as Caleb says, I've done every single thing to that portal, it's shiny as you can imagine.
Well, it's not the portal, it's the public marketing website.
Oh, he hasn't touched anything on the portal?
I think he touched a couple of things.
Okay. Well, everything that he could do, and then he would say, all right, so I've done everything to do with front end stuff. I've checked with Lewis, doesn't need help. Checked with Tom, doesn't need help. Checked with Rick. Now, Adam, what should I do? Should I try to learn part of this AI stuff, or should I fix up some other things such as this? And we would talk about that. But generally, your focus is on the team.
Does that make sense, Caleb? Sorry,
yeah, that's all clear to me. Thanks.
And with regards to Tom's feedback, which is quite good, I would say you work on the backlog unless there is a bug. The double emojis are really a signal to Callum that I hope they're in the next sprint. Just code language, it's very good that you noticed that. But if you are seeing me say something different to Callum, you should call us up and go, what's going on? Mum's saying this, Dad's saying this, what do I do? Yeah, but we shouldn't be doing that.
Awesome. Okay, and that concludes our sprint review and retrospective. Let us move on to the planning. So here is the sprint planning, this beautifully formatted email. Let's dive into what is planned for the sprint. So obviously we're hoping to send out the welcome emails to the YakShaver waiting list to the first person waiting. Next one, Stephen, you are doing a spike on the FFmpeg processing time. Now, we missed this in the review. Do you want to briefly explain what happened last sprint and what your plan is for this sprint on this topic?
Yeah, sure. Last time we had the FFmpeg to process the video to add watermark branding, says YakShaver on the video. But when we finished the functionality and commit to the server, we realized it took a very long time for the server to process the video. So we manually switched turn it off, but instead of doing a spike to play around the different configurations of the FFmpeg to find a balanced way to reduce the process time into a reasonable time.
Right. So basically it takes way too long to process the video and we've got to shorten it before we can switch it on. And so you're going to do a bit of a spike to see if you can play around with how powerful the server is and whatever else you can do to try and make it work better. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Awesome. And Adam, you'll be pleased to see we've included 3 items with a double emoji in this sprint. So we quickly refined those and found that there's not too much effort involved. So this first one, in the portal, currently it's sort of fixed on 30 days. If I just jump over to the portal in here somewhere. In here, so it's fixed on 30 days. We basically want to be able to select some different date ranges to make it a bit more user-friendly, and that should also obviously affect the leaderboard. adding the portal link to the help card. So currently when you say help to the YakShaver bot, it doesn't have any link to the portal. We just want to add that in there. That's a quick one. And then GitHub connection, again, with the YakShaver bot, once you're set up, we just want a little confirmation that it's done. So if there's no further questions from anyone, you can find
I have two
oh, yes, go ahead.
questions.
Absolutely.
The first one is, could you show us the YakShave that we just recorded? And also, do you have any stats that came from GitHub Copilot? Maybe Yuli, you could look at that for the sprint review that happened before this, just to see the stats that it shows who was doing the majority of the talking, etc.
Sorry, you said GitHub Copilot. Did you mean something different?
It has not finished.
I
has not finished processing yet. It is still processing.
Sorry, I made a mistake. I meant Teams Copilot or Teams Recap or the enterprise.
Microsoft Office 365 Copilot.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so it's still processing. We might need to leave more of a gap between the meeting and the summary. I guess it was almost 2 hours long, so I guess it takes longer if the meeting's longer. Lewis, have you got the link to the PBI that was created during this meeting?
Unfortunately, it seems like there's a bit of an error. It's asking me to send a fallback email.
That's unlike YakShaver. That's really weird. So we'll immediately investigate that and figure out what happened there. All right. So if there's nothing else to discuss, here is where you can find all of our YakShaver videos. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. And let me cease the recording. Keep awkwardly waving.